Okay, let's talk about the next geometry type, which are lines. Now, lines are a little bit more complicated than points because they are a sequence of vertices, right? And a vertex is just basically a defined point with a line that gets drawn between them, a line segment that gets drawn between them. So it's a definition of the shape of a line. It is a point where in theory where the direction changes a little bit. So one of the things about lines is that they are true vectors in that they have a start and an end, and therefore they have a direction. So depending on where you start and where you end, the line has a different direction. So let me go ahead and just demonstrate this by adding symbology here. I'm going to change the symbology arrow extended at the end. And let's see here. And oops, what did I do? Oh, here it is. Yep. And here's the thing. I want to. Oops. Properties. Color. Still want it to be red. Make it a little thicker. There we go. That's ridiculously thick, but we'll go ahead and click apply. And so you can see that these lines all have a direction, right? Here's the beginning, and it's being digitized in that direction. Now for the streets in the city and county of Denver, the origin is at Ellsworth and Broadway, and everything increases east and west from there, and north and south from there. And so if you think about an ordered addressing system, it has to have a beginning and an end somewhere. So if you've ever delivered pizzas and you're like, okay, there's 201, 207, 213, okay, 217 ought to be around here somewhere, right? And so you know that because you know the way in which that's run. So in order to be able to geocode, for the computer to be able to do that, then these vectors need to be digitized in the correct direction. And it is possible to flip things, but it's much better to just go ahead and do it right the first time. The other thing about that is if you have a beginning and you have an end, then if you stand at the beginning and you look towards the end, then you have also defined a left and a right. So if you digitize it the wrong way, then left and right become the opposite sides. So that's another way in which you can help to get your data correct for doing some sort of routing and things like that. Okay, so with that in mind, let's, whoops. Okay, I just clicked on there a couple of times, created one. I'm going to go ahead and click the delete key while it's still highlighted to get rid of that. Okay, and you can see, again, there are different tools that allow you to make different kinds of lines. You know, I'm not going to go through every single one of these. They're usually fairly specialized, so if you're doing some sort of big project where you're doing a lot of digitizing, you might want to investigate those things to see if one or more of them are actually a time saver or allows you to make data more accurately. Okay, so here's the thing that I'm going to do. I am going to, let's see here, I don't really have any nice straight streets. I'm going to draw a street right through here. Okay. Now, depending on what your rules are, we've established some rules that we are going to be going we're going to be going from west to east when we digitize this. But it also could be something like, do I digitize this all the way down? Do I break the line segment at each intersection, or what have you? What do you do up here where you have a divided road? Do you make a line for each carriageway? So lots of different possibilities for doing these things. Those things are business rules. But the actually, you know what? We're just going to do this north and south road. Those are the business rules, but this is the technology for how you actually implement it. So let's see, I'm going to digitize this road, and then let me go ahead and click on roads, and I'm going to start right here at this intersection. And because this is nice and straight, maybe it isn't really nice and straight. I'm going to bring it up here. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but as I get closer, because I have snapping turned on, it's trying to snap to the endpoint. Right? What that means is that the next vertex that I place will have the exact same coordinates as the endpoint of that other line that it's connecting to. And this is very important if you're going to be doing anything that requires connectivity, such as electrical systems or any kind of system that transmits energy or transmits wastewater, sewer, any of your utilities. And frankly, for roads too. If you want to do any routing or something like that, these things need to snap exactly. Right? Not real close, but exactly. And depending on how far you're zoomed out, it may look just fine, but if you turn snapping on, it can help with this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and go to here, and I'm going to double click. And in this case, double click means end this sketch. And you can see there's only 2 vertices in this particular sketch. I think I've made my point with the arrows now, so I'm going to turn those off because, frankly, that's irritating. And let's just see if we can get back here. You know what? Let's make these like a bright green. That should show up regardless. Okay, so the arrows were nice to have, but you can see now that this is actually connected at one and only one point. Well, it's highlighted, so let's see, select. Okay, so you can see that it's absolutely connected in one spot, and that's what you want. Okay, so let's go ahead and create another one and create the next part of this road. And I'm going to start by snapping, and then, depending on how zoomed in you are, you're going to want to put this like in the middle of that intersection. Okay, so we've done that, and as you can see, we have created 2 different road segments. I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to hold down the Shift key and select that one, so I have 2 because they have the same name. And I'm going to go back to my Attributes tab, and you can see that these roads are both selected. I have 2 records. I'm going to click right here where it says Roads, and I'm going to give it a full name, Elm Avenue. The rest of these are codes that CDOT uses, and I don't happen to know what those appropriate values are. Okay, so both of those are Elm Avenue. Depending on your business rules, you might have just digitized this as one, but these are the rules that we have in the city. Again, let's go up to Edit, and we'll save that, and we have created 2 new records in the database. They should show up at the bottom of the table. Yeah, as you can see, we had a lot of roads in here already. Here's our, well, it looks like we already had an Elm Avenue, but I stuck Elm Avenue in here as well. So, okay, let's come back and talk a little more.